Hi, what's up, y'all? It's popping in today. About to react to this vid. This is Who the F Did I Marry? TikTok situation gets even worse. So apparently the ex-wife is coming out to speak on the situation. Also, the guy, the ex-husband, is saying he wants to sue. He wants to sue the woman for exposing him. Pretty much, he's claiming it's affecting his work. And he's saying his job is about to sue as well. He's also saying that Netflix is working on, they working on something or whatever with him. Child, this sounds exactly like the man that she described. Because what Netflix is working with you, boy, bye. Anyway, let's see the update and see what's going on. Let's watch.
Right, so in my last video, we took a look at the viral series that is currently taking over TikTok. It's Who the Fuck Did I Marry?
This isn't sped up, by the way. He just talks fast like this.
Teaser, who, by the way, is currently on 2.1 million followers. And you might remember when I recorded that video, which I believe was like, what, 2 or 3 days ago, she was on less than 1 million. So I think that puts in perspective how big this series has got. Now, usually when I do a follow-up video to another video that I've made, I like to give like a quick 1-minute recap of my previous video. Now, the problem here is, if you were expecting a 1-minute recap of my previous video,
you don't need that.
I'm sorry to let you down. It's virtually impossible. Okay. I mean, that video is a 30-minute recap of a 7.5-hour series. Like, I can't make it any shorter. But long story short, missing out a lot of key details. I would recommend either watching my video or Reese's series. I mean, you're definitely going to get more information out of Reese's series. I would highly recommend it. But long story short, the series is about Reese's ex-husband that she calls Legion. And throughout their relationship, Reese finds out that Legion is a pathological liar. He lies about everything. He lies about cars, houses, family, friends,
and he busted
deaths. Like, he would lie about his whole entire life. And actually in the series, Risa refers to someone called LaToya, which I believe is Legion's ex-wife. Someone that he basically kept a secret that she ended up finding out about. Oh. Well, it turns out LaToya has actually seen Risa's series, and she has now made videos backing up Risa's story. But before we get any further, I am trying to reach 500,000 subscribers on this channel, and we're getting really close. So if you could and you want to, please subscribe. It would help out a lot.
I'm going to address the elephant in the room because it's been brought to my attention that my ex-husband is out here in these streets disturbing individuals as he always has, and I have been brought into this.
And I mean, hearing this, it really does beg the question, how many people have been through this with Legion? Because let's be honest here, it's probably not just going to be the people that Risa knows about, right? Because there's so much information that she found out, so many lies, it seems like it would be virtually impossible to find everything. But what I do really like about the fact that LaToya's now came out and said her experience is that it really does back up Risa's story, right? Because as much as I did believe her, and I said that in the video, right, I believe what you're saying, I also had to say, like, I don't know 100%, and I still don't because I wasn't involved. If I wasn't involved in it, I won't say that I know it 100%. But I mean, it seems very, very likely at this point, doesn't it?
This chapter of my life is closed. I have moved on. It's been more than 10 years. I'm over it. I'm done.
10 years? You could not force me to talk about any of my exes. I don't care what they got going on. I don't care what they got to say. I'm not updating shit. I'm not addressing shit. I'm not speaking on shit. I don't care how viral some shit.
I'm good, okay?
I mean, over 10 years and he was still doing this shit. Like, surely after seeing how bad it went the first time, you know, it's ended in a divorce, you'd probably think, I should probably stop doing this by now. But no, did it for a decade.
So Legion, as y'all call him, is a despicable, nasty, and vile individual.
Oh.
I fell for the trap over 10 years ago. Yes, he was charming, and I was broken mentally.
I mean, look, even on my video, there was a few comments. Actually, not that many. I was actually expecting more just based on what I've seen in comments previously. But there were a few comments just calling Risa naive. And I think that's really easy to say, like, in hindsight when we know the information. But look, multiple people fell for it. And that could be for many, many reasons, right? When you're in love, you tend to believe people more. But secondly, this bloke went to extreme lengths to try and make what he's saying believable. He was showing fake bank statements, letters from work. He would sit on the phone to himself, pretending he was on the phone to some brother for like an hour. A lie that he really didn't need to tell, right? He could have still probably done everything that he did without saying, like, I have this brother that I speak to every day. But that was the length that he was going to.
All of the, I'm gonna do this or I'm gonna do that and everything else, yes. All of these things were said to me. Guess what? None of it happened. He's manipulative and he literally tried to ruin my life.
I mean, what does he expect to happen in these situations, right? Because these people are eventually going to find out. There's only so many times you can say, oh, I have a bunch of money from arena football. That means that we're going to go and buy a house in cash, buy these cars in cash. And when this stuff never happens over and over again, anyone's going to get suspicious, no matter how in love they are. I'm just really struggling to understand this thought process. Like, what did he think was going to happen here?
Yeah,
but this man is a pathological liar. He gave up all types of promises. But to the cars and houses, just like Risa. But guess what? None of that ever came to pass, right?
Well, and it was the same lies as well, like the cars and the houses. Like, again, what the fuck's he expecting? I mean, Risa said in her series that she believes the reason why he does this is that he really enjoys the idea of getting people excited for something, like a house or a car, and then just letting them down. Now, I'm obviously not sure if that's his thought process, but that's what Risa said, right? Someone who knows him pretty well, or, I mean, at least fortune him, right? But if that is the case, why? I don't understand it.
But at the same token, I still was very, very, very not mentally, in love with myself. So that's one of the things that really got me. So I genuinely feel empathy for the women that have been down his path. When all this stuff was going on with him and I, there was no social media, TikTok or anything like that. But at the same token, I just wanted to heal through my processes. I didn't want to sit there and have to tell the whole world my business because I'm a very private person and I don't do trauma.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big point, right? I saw a few comments on Latoya's video basically saying like, oh, why are you just coming out about this now? And I mean, a lot of people don't want to talk about their private lives. And in fact, plenty of times we've watched bits of like drama on TikTok where people are
about this now. I can't
even think, why are you talking about this online? This could have been a private matter. Like, deal with this privately. But in this case, I do believe it's a really...
Especially if she's not an online personality, why would she talk about this in the past? That makes no sense.
That Risa came forward and spoke about this publicly, because clearly he's been doing this a long time, a decade, and Risa's experience was only within the last few years. So he's probably still doing this now. I feel like that would be a fair bet. And you never know, there might be someone who watched Risa's video who is currently speaking to Legion, and she's now seen Risa's video and thinking, oh, right, so my idea was right. I knew he was lying this whole time. I mean, you never know, obviously. Like, maybe he has stopped doing it now, but in his response video to Risa, he just didn't really address anything. He just went, it's all lies. So that in itself doesn't make me believe that he's any different now, but what do I know?
I will also say this. I did not hit Legion at all. I did not hit this man. He went to jail because he was impersonating a police officer, telling people that he was a detective of the police department in Atlanta, Georgia, and that is why he went to jail. Also for stalking one of the guards that were over where we lived at. That is why he went to jail.
Yeah, so this is actually one of the big details of the story. Of course, we know, like, Legion went to this weekend to jail, which, again, I didn't even know was a thing, but apparently it is. And his criminal history showed many things, but one of which was impersonating a police officer. And from what I can tell, this is what I'm taking away from this video, that happened around about the same time that Latoya was married to him. Now, after this video was posted, Latoya went on to do like a show talking about it, like on TikTok, I believe it was maybe live, and Legion himself actually tried to join.
So last night, I had my show at 9 o'clock, and there was a lot of people on, and I appreciate you guys that you come on. I wasn't able to go live while being on my show, but I'll get into that in a moment. I want to speak about Jerome because he came on my show. And the one thing, I never thought that he would, why are you bothering me? Leave me alone because I have nothing to say to you. You're not going to tell your lying ass side of your story because we all know that it's lies.
I mean, the cheek of this guy to think that he could just join and start spewing his shite again. Like, what's he expecting? Now, of course, in his response video, he did insinuate that he's probably going to be doing, like, interviews and whatnot, talking about it. So, I mean, that's probably going to be released. Someone will end up taking up on that offer. But yeah, the fact that he really thought his ex-wife from 10 years ago is just going to, like, allow him to come on a show and start, like, talking shit about her is genuinely laughable. But it's at this point that we need to introduce someone else, because it wasn't just Latoya that came out to speak about her experience with Legion. It was actually Latoya's son. Her son, who I believe is called Tashawn Lopez.
He's a weird dude. He's a weird guy. He told my mother he was like this big-time producer.
Big-time producer? Like, he actually has multiple lies that he tells. Like, does he come up with, like, a different career path every time? I don't understand it. Like, I'm just thinking, how does he keep up with his own lies? Like, how does he remember what he told certain people? Like, surely he would get caught out eventually. I mean, he did, clearly. But we are starting to see a running pattern here, that everyone who's had an experience with him has had a really bad one.
But he was on the top of time with the lying, and telling my mother he was a producer, he was gonna do this and that, he had connections, all this shit, he played in the NFL, all this extra ass shit.
Oh, so now he's saying he plays in the NFL, it's not just arena football anymore. I mean, I'd assume that would be such an easy thing to prove if someone plays in the NFL, so maybe that's why he changed it to arena football.
Yeah, I was about to say,
but then after
he had
finding
to
out
switch
that
that
people
up.
who play arena football don't even earn that much money, like, I don't understand why. I don't understand anything this guy does.
He had a wife and a daughter, and they died in a car accident or some wild shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, so he's lying about more people dying. I'm not even shocked.
Later into their relationship and with me being there, I got there a little bit after they met, like a couple years after they met. I got there in 2011. And, you know, when it dawned on me, he was telling, you know, my mom all this stuff, and it dawned on me that this man was working in North Augusta, South Carolina, at a Christian TV station.
Okay, so it actually seems like Tashawn was the one who realised first, like, this guy's been lying about everything. And he actually mentioned in his live streams that he was away when this relationship first started, and he came back, and that's when he actually saw Jerome for the first time, or Legion, or whatever you want to call him. So, I mean, thankfully he did come back, if that's the case.
Jerome is such an old school black
I'm happy
man.
when I was there, I was able to keep some type of peace, but he hated us. He hated my mother's kids.
Damn.
He did not like the fact that we got any type of attention from her. He hated that shit. He did not like it.
He didn't like the fact that a mother would give attention to her kids. Is this guy alright?
He was so calculated with the shit, you know, before we knew anything, you know, when we were still in the dark about shit, he was calculated, like the lady was telling y'all. She said that she was shocked that he, you know, put this much effort and thought into shit, and like, I don't know what was going on in his head. That's what the fuck he liked to do.
I mean, yeah, he clearly did put a lot of effort into this, which is, again, why these comments saying, like, oh, she was naive and whatnot, I think they're pretty unfair. Because, I mean, this guy seemed to cover every track possible, right? He was really good.
I mean, let's be clear. She was still naive to a certain degree, because no matter how much he tried to support his lies with all the effort he put in, nothing ever fell through. Like, everything he promised her, like, nothing, he never fulfilled any of those promises. So that should have been indication enough. But I mean, I get it. I don't want to judge her too harshly, because, you know, we've all been stupid in situations. And then, yeah, didn't she, like, marry him after, like, a month and shit? So it's like,
I was weird to make this as believable as possible, coming up with fake proof and whatnot. And yeah, I mean, he was obsessed with lying, clearly.
We didn't like him. Mother only, you know, she just tolerated him. Like, have you seen her video? She said she was broken at the time. You know what I'm saying? My mother was going through stuff. She didn't love herself, and he took advantage of that.
Yeah, I mean, it seems he takes advantage of certain things, right? I mean, in this case, Latoya said she was broken, he took advantage of that. In Reese's case, it seemed like she really wanted to settle down, have a family, get married, he took advantage of that.
okay, so now this is an update with Legion. He is now speaking. So let's see what he says in this vid.
My exact finances is not your business. She knew for a fact I had money because, again, I bought dinner, I did everything.
I mean, yeah, she knew you had money because you were paying some of the bills and whatnot, but there's a difference to just having money and then having money to put a down payment on a 700 grand house. Or actually, scratch that, to pay cash for a 700 grand house. They are two very different levels of money, which is what she was saying in the video.
I heard in the story where she said that we quarantined together during the pandemic. And I need to clear that up.
Okay, so it seems like he's going to say that there's something incorrect about him quarantining through the pandemic, which I don't understand why she would lie about something like that. That's very small information.
Was the Chase loan, the approval of the $700,000, was that a real thing?
I never went to my bank and needed to get approved for a loan.
Okay, right, so he's saying he didn't need to get approval for a loan. Is that because he could pay in cash? Is he still holding that story? I think one thing that this video in particular does confirm to me that a lot of people were questioning for a long time here. I was getting a bunch of comments on my previous videos saying this, but a lot of people are saying, what if she's lying? Like, what if she's just made it all up? What if she's made up all the details? But when you actually hear Legion talk about this, it makes me believe Reese's story even more, which I already did really believe, but this just confirms it for me. Because he's talking about all the points that Reese said, but he's obviously changed them slightly in his favour.
Was the proof of funds ever an issue?
To the two accounts I let her know about, I had 5 altogether, but she had access to them. She was able to go to the bank, buy what she wanted when she wanted to buy it.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see if Reese Tisa does respond to this interview, because he just said right there she had access to the account. Risa did say in her big series that they did have a joint account at one point. Is that what he's on about? I mean, I don't think I should have to tell you at this point if you have kept up with any part of the series. Take what Legion says with a pinch of salt.
She did admit to me that when she was pregnant, that was the other gentleman's kid, not mine.
Okay, we're gonna need some form of proof here, because the thing that Risa has on her side right now is the fact that everybody else who's had an experience with Legion is saying the exact same thing. We've got ex-wives, ex-stepchildren, family members of Legion, all saying the same stuff. Whereas on Legion's side, we've just got him saying stuff. I mean, obviously the full interview hasn't came out yet. Maybe he does show proof, but I'm not exactly holding my breath.
You start taking care of somebody who don't appreciate it, and then you end up with a Risa Tisa.
I mean, the way you just said, oh, you just try and look after someone, but then you end up with a Risa Tisa is pretty mind-blowing, because, like I said, multiple people have came forward who have experiences with Legion and have said the exact same stuff now.
I told her the truth.
But I truly had no idea who the fuck I married.
Okay, so the end of the teaser is him saying he told her the truth, which is very funny. I mean, he apparently told her that he was basically a millionaire from arena football, which, when you actually look into it, doesn't even seem possible. And then I believe his ex-wife's son said that Legion told him that he was like an NFL player or something, or what else was it? Some other crazy profession that wasn't true. But either way, like I said, that interview does come out in a couple of days. Let me know if you want me to cover it. But now moving over to the other side, because we actually have a new update from Risa Tisa herself.
Earlier today, Legion's older brother, Chris, reached out to my friend, Tracy Tripp, an attorney here in Metro Atlanta.
Yeah, so Chris, I believe, is the person that Legion was apparently talking to on the phone for countless hours every night, but he wasn't. And in fact, Chris said that they haven't got along for a long time.
On the phone, he verified, because I was on speakerphone when she called me, that he was in fact the older brother. I felt comfortable. I called him from my personal phone. I called him at 2:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. He and I spoke, and there were two things that he asked for me to clear up. Here it is. Number one, Legion's mother passed away first. His father passed away a few years later. It was at the father's funeral that Legion brought his ex-wife, and apparently there was an altercation of some kind between Legion and his older brother. They have not seen each other since the father's funeral.
Right, so as you can see at the beginning of this video, Risa goes on to clarify some stuff that she may be misremembered in the story. And obviously Legion's brother actually rang Risa to try and clarify this, and she has, so good on her.
Secondly, Chris wanted me to also let you all know that their parents, though they are passed away, the parents did everything they could to get Legion psychiatric help. At one point, they were taking him to different therapists and psychologists. He's been diagnosed as a kid with both bipolar and schizophrenia.
Yeah, so this is actually something that a lot of people were just assuming in the comments, but here's actually confirmation that it's true. Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm some type of professional who knew this and can just diagnose people just by hearing the story. But I did see a lot of people saying that they think this is the case, and obviously it seems like it is.
Chris gave me permission to go ahead and relay this message to everyone to clear up some things that were said in the 50-part series. He also had a message for me. He said, "We support you. The family is not mad at you. We've known how he is for years. You can expose that motherfucker."
Oh shit, okay, yeah, I mean, they're clearly not on good terms then. I mean, we kind of already knew that from everything we've heard, but Risa was telling her story back from 2020 and 2021. Obviously, it's a few years later now, but it seems like nothing's really changed. Which again, even though we haven't seen the full Legion interview right now, doesn't really work in his favour at all, right? I don't think anyone's going to believe a word he says.
I told him I would make this video to clarify exactly what he said, and he told me that if you or any friends know the family personally up in Philly, Chris has a message for you. The captain is loose. Apparently you all should know what that means if you know the family.
I'm sorry, what? The captain is loose? What does that mean? I'm really trying to work out what you meant by that, but that was quite an intense line. Like, the scream went black just as she said that, with like a dramatic bang sound effect in the background. That could have been used in like an action movie. Yeah, if anyone has any guesses as to what that could possibly mean, please let me know in the comment section, because I am lost.
I say all this to say again, I take responsibility and be accountable for the series that I put out, that 50-part series. So if I said something that was incorrect, I have no issue making sure that I correct it as best I can.
Yeah, I mean, see, everything about Risa's character just makes me believe her. Like, the fact she's going out of her way now to correct some information, which, by the way, it's a 50-part series going into a lot of details. it would be very easy to not remember something 100% correctly. And the details of the story wouldn't even change too much with the story with like the parents and whatnot, like whose funeral it was at. Obviously, she said that she wasn't even aware of this diagnosis before yesterday, so there was no way of her mentioning it in the series. But yeah, she's been out of her way to correct some parts of the story, which you can't help but respect.
Let me be very clear, ladies and gentlemen. I know what my ex-husband put me through. I cannot speak for anyone else. I can only speak on my experience. I realize that this story sounds absolutely outrageous, but it's true.
I mean, yeah, at this point, I'm believing her more and more. I will never say I 100% believe the story just because I wasn't there. But in terms of my percentage of believing the story, it's pretty fucking high.
I gave you details because it's true, and I stand on that. You all have a wonderful day. And last but not least, to Chris and Tracy, I thank you.
Well, there you have it. That is the who the fuck did I...
Okay, I'm done with these people. Okay, I've watched enough of this. I don't give a fuck what Baldy is talking about. Because if you are a pathological liar, why would I listen to an interview full of lies? You gonna lie about everything in that damn interview. So what am I getting from that exactly? I don't care what he's talking about. I wish this woman peace. I hope she can, get the self-esteem she needs to make better decisions in the future with other men, because this is wild, everything that he put her through. Like, what? Crazy. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Let me know what other videos you want to watch, and I'll see y'all the next time. Bye!